Welcome everyone to a new segment I like to call Traveling with Wine. So since we actually can't go anywhere right now because of the thing that shall not be mentioned because demonetization, they do that now. If you say the C word, you get demonetized.
Seriously?
Yeah. So
interesting.
We're not going to say it, but travel restrictions. So we can't actually travel, and all my travel plans got canceled this year, so we're going to improvise and use our imagination. Instead of actually physically going to these places, we are going to try wine from all over the world. By tasting it, we'll feel like we're actually there.
What she said.
Or maybe we'll just get drunk enough and then we'll think we're actually there. All right, so I invited my brother on to be my co-host for this segment because he is actually very informed with wine. And disclaimer, none of us are actually trained sommeliers or certified whatever, but I think we've tried enough wine and have diversified our palate so much that we know what good wine is, and we promise that you're going to like all of these. I know that everyone's palate is very diverse, so some people like wine that other people don't, but we're gonna try and pick really good wines to suggest to you throughout these episodes.
The wines we'll be choosing today are great quality for price. I don't think you can go wrong with any of the choices that we make. They should hit everybody's palate the right way.
We try and steer clear of too inexpensive wines because you're just not getting the quality for the price. But there are some wines that are affordable to, your average Joe that are very high in quality, but a little lower on the price end.
Whether you're new into wines or whether you've been drinking wines for years, all of these are great choices, and if you haven't tried them, I really highly recommend it.
Do you want to tell them where we're traveling to today?
For today's episode, we're traveling to Canada, specifically the Niagara Escarpment, Vineland, Ontario.
See you there. All right, so now that we're in Niagara, it's pretty close to home. So we went on a Niagara wine tasting tour, a couple months ago.
I would say...
in January.
Yeah? Yes, it was January.
Yeah. And we tried almost 100 different wines, and this one is probably our favorite that we came down to. Just for the quality, for the price, pretty good.
And we've tried a lot of Ontario wines, and this one really stood out to us.
So what is it? Today
here we got a Kacaba Proprietor's Block Syrah 2017. This is a single vineyard wine, which means it's not a conglomerate of grapes picked from different vineyards and then blended. It's a single vineyard grape. So that's usually when you see that on the back of a label, or if you know that the wine is higher quality. Kacaba tries their hardest to do everything by hand. It is a $35 wine, but for that price, we believe you're getting an amazing wine, and it really stands out to even the higher quality wines out there.
Yeah, again, we almost tried over 100 wines that weekend, and this one just
by no means is it a cheap wine.
I know you might feel like you don't want to spend $35 on a bottle of wine, but trust me, you won't be disappointed.
The winery is fairly new. I believe they started in 1999 was their first planting or their first vintage, and they really focus on deep red and full-bodied wines that have rich flavors to them, and this one is a perfect example of that. If you're a fan of dry wines, Ontario is a really good example of those because of our growing season is not as long as, say, California, for example. The Ontario wines have a little bit of a harder time ripening. Kacaba here really made a wine that is hard to do in Ontario. It's very fruit forward and a little bit jammy if you're into that, but it's really good wine.
And even though I personally love dry wines, and the people that we were with, they prefer fruity wines, but the different palates of if you prefer dry or sweet wines, everyone that tried this still really enjoyed it. So it's kind of like a universally like good wine for every palate.
Yeah, I would say that was a good point. Everybody that we went on the trip with, like 6 people, we all gravitated to this one bottle.
And we all have very different palates of what we like.
If you notice, a lot of Ontario wines will have this specific label right there that says VQA. That stands for Vintners Quality Alliance, and it just ensures that all the grapes that's in this bottle are 100% Ontario, no water added, and the grapes and the grape juice put into here has all been under specific quality assurance.
All right, let's drink some wine.
All right, let's get to it.
You told me that this wine has to air out for at least an hour. Why is that?
Well, Syrahs are typically a full-bodied wine, and they like a little bit of air to get to them. So roughly, depending on how bold the wine is, you can let it air out to an hour, maybe 45, or even longer than an hour sometimes. It's really up to you. You can drink a wine right when it's open. You'll notice it might be harsh. And then as it airs out, a lot of different things show throughout the wine. Sometimes it's fun to take a little sip right when you pour it. And then as it sits out for an hour or two, you will taste different flavors throughout the whole process. But to get to where the wine truly shines, you give it an hour. For this specific Syrah grape, Syrah is like an hour.
1 hour later.
All right, so we've waited an hour for this bad boy here. So I think we should dive into the taste test.
All right, so the reason why people swirl wines is because it lets out a lot of the wine's aromas so that you can smell it and get the smell of the wine on your palate before you taste it. Professional sommeliers always, when they're rating wine, they look at the color of it first, then they smell it, then they taste it. So do you want to analyze it in that way?
Sure, we could do that.
This wine is, to me, a dark red with purpley undertones.
Here, let me grab one of these. Yeah, I would say it's pretty dark purple.
What's cool about these glasses is that they're shaped so that it's kind of impossible for the wine to spill out of the top. So if you get a wine glass that is, thicker on...
Wider at the bottom, tapering up as it goes.
So then you can just swish around as much as you like and it's not going to spill over. Yeah, see, just by smelling it, I know it's going to be a dry wine.
Yeah.
It's not, the smell doesn't come off really fruity. It's more savory.
It has that classic Ontario smell, too. I don't know if it's just...
Ontario lake smell?
I don't know if it's that, the lake that the Niagara, the Ontario lake smell, or if it's the soil. Every nice Ontario wine has this distinct smell that I just love. A lot of blackberries for sure. Blackberries,
a little
red clay, cherry.
A little gravel.
When I take my nose away, I get a little bit of black pepper too.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, you feel that?
I get that. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's a really good one.
So I don't know what your first impressions were, but right away, super smooth.
Super smooth, but the aftertaste, after you swallow it and it sits there, it sucks all the moisture out of my mouth, which is what I look for in a wine. I really like dry wines. But because it's such a high quality wine, even if you don't like dry wine, I guarantee you're gonna like this.
A lot of flavors coming through. Again with the clay.
I get a little bit of red pepper.
Red pepper. I do get a little bit of that. What about eucalyptus?
No.
You don't get any of that?
Nope. See, like, you're not always going to agree on what you taste in a wine, again, because everyone's palates are different. So just because a wine, like, has certain flavors and undertones doesn't mean everyone is going to pick up on that, and some people might pick up on different things.
If I were to give three, for the people watching, three distinct flavors that this wine has, like if they're looking for a specific flavor profile, definitely be blackberries.
Yeah.
A little bit of spice.
Like a black pepper spice. Yeah, not spicy.
Yeah, and a little bit of baking spices.
Interesting. This wine is so good. I can't. We've been trying a lot of different wines lately and kind of going below budget to like the teens. Like if you go under $20 for a wine, you're kind of getting into the sketchy area. So we delved into the sketchy area last week and it was just not.
There's definitely good wines from the, I would say, $10 to $20 range. You just have to know what you're looking for sure. Once you go above, I would say around $20 or more, you start getting into a little bit of the more premium wines, as in more hands touch the wine than less machines. And the higher you go in price-wise for the bottle, you're actually giving more money to the vineyard rather than distributors and all that, because they can make more money off their wine.
Yeah, exactly. Cheers. But what I was saying is that because we had tasted some really bad wines last week, like tasting this is just...
Yeah, this is
so good.
Definitely much needed. We don't know if you're new to wine or not, but the reason why we're holding the wine down at the stem instead of up here is because if you hold the wine here, your hand tends to heat up the wine and it just makes it an unpleasant drinking experience. Pretty much keeping your hand here just keeps the wine at the temperature it's supposed to be at. So
the only place that you can get this wine is if you order it off their website or go straight to their vineyard. So yeah, check out Kacaba.com, and we are not sponsored. This is our honest opinion.
Yeah, and we highly recommend visiting Kacaba at the vineyard itself because the people there are very nice. You can even try some wines that they have in the barrel, not even ready to drink yet.
Yeah, they literally just take it straight from the barrel. Till next time.
Have a good day.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week.
Oh, look! Ron's Moose is here to visit us again. There, I'm done. And wine isn't only for fancy people. Rednecks can drink it too. Thank you very much.